Greetings and salutations. You are watching Pop Goes VR. Pop Goes VR is a show presented in VR180 about everything virtual reality books and movies and video games and technology, all of that fun stuff. This is episode 1. This is our first episode of Pop Goes VR. We're going to be talking about the Matrix and the upcoming Matrix 4 movie. My name is Danthol. I'm here with my co-host Ryan. How's it going, Ryan?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I'm pretty excited for our first episode here. Can't wait to dive into the Matrix and everything we know, and then everything that we think we might know about number 4. I'm really looking forward to kind of diving into this. I've been just immersed myself into Matrix for the last few days, so I'm knowledgeable on this stuff now. I know what I'm talking about.
I've seen the Matrix movies multiple times. Today I watched 2 and 3 again to remind me. Normally I watch The Matrix and just leave it at that and then watch The Matrix over and over. The sequels are not as important. I like to imagine my own fan fiction stories of what happened after The Matrix 1 instead of what happened in this series. Rewatching it again today, maybe I appreciate it a little bit more. I understand the epic scale of what's going on with this. Tell us about your experience with The Matrix. Why is The Matrix like your favorite movie, if not VR movie, or the other way around?
The first Matrix film is, to me, almost near flawless. It does show its age a bit. I mean, it is over 20 years old now, but just the story and the mythos, it didn't get too deep into its own BS, so it left a lot of things open, but you never felt totally lost. And that's kind of where the second and third sequel get a lot of flack, is just the amount of exposition and the amount of just like philosophy that gets thrown in there, and it kind of gets muddled, and you kind of, what you got from the first film, it got washed away in the second and third films. At least that's how I used to think. Having been just back into this again and again and again, I kind of have new respect for all those plot points and all that philosophy, and like everything I didn't fully get the first, 5 or 6 or 7 times around, I kind of get it now. It's super deep and super in depth, but if you actually spend the time to go online and read up theories and facts, you can kind of see basically where almost everything comes together and almost everything has an answer. You just kind of got to learn how to look at it. But now that I kind of know those answers, I'm kind of back in the entire series. But the first one by far is still my favorite.
Yeah, that movie came out 1999. It shared the same year with the Star Wars prequel, Episode 1. So
yeah,
those were similar. We went and saw The Matrix, and then we saw Star Wars, and then we went and saw The Matrix again. It's like trying to wrap your head around what was happening in the movie actually was hard the first time viewing the movie because it was so new in its technology and the things that it was talking about. 1999, the internet was there. It was present, but the internet wasn't like it is now. Like, in 1999, if you wanted to order a pizza, you didn't go on the internet. You still got your cell phone and called. Some people were still using landlines in 1999 interesting stuff. Like The Matrix, they had the scene with the phone, where the phone he goes, ooh, and he looks at a phone that he got in the bag. It's like, ooh, we want that phone. That's new technology that we've never seen before.
Dude, they're chasing around dial-up phones and, like I said, landlines. Every phone they have in there they got to get to a landline. I mean, I don't know how that's possible in Matrix 4. That won't be an option. If that's the case, they're screwed trying to get out of the Matrix.
Right. Well, the Matrix was a representation of that time era. In the Matrix, you're really in the future where the robots won the wars between the humans and the robots and enslaved humanity in little pods, and even when they're babies. And you've seen the movies, you know what we're talking about. Good stuff. For me, those movies were kind of like a new excuse me, those were kind of like a new Lord of the Rings, kind of like a brand new fantasy setting, a new place. It was exciting, and enjoy the movies thoroughly, and those now are very much in the halls of VR popularity now. When you think virtual reality, people now think Ready Player One more often, but The Matrix is the king of virtual reality.
Absolutely, I can't disagree with that at all. And that's after Ready Player One, for God's sakes.
Yeah, Ready Player One, I don't think is going to have the same a hold long term. People
No,
will
no, no,
forget
no.
about Ready Player One. The Matrix, nobody will forget about The Matrix. The Matrix is a source of so many memes and tropes and everything like that. At the time, the Wachowski brothers did a great job. Now it's just the Wachowskis. It's 2020. Things have changed.
Things have changed.
So yes, but some things change, and some things never change. If you're, we just watched the third one, so that makes sense. That's a quote from the movie. Yeah. Anyways, so let's talk about what everybody wants to see. What information we've been able to glean off the internet, and talk about the Matrix 4. How excited are you for the Matrix 4?
I'm cautiously optimistic, and that comes largely due to just kind of rewatching these films and kind of researching all the mythos. To catch people up, obviously there's spoilers here, but the end of the Matrix was like a pseudo happy ending. Neo was more than likely dead. Trinity was dead. But their sacrifices basically led to a somewhat cohesive peace between the machines and people, and they rebooted the Matrix one more time, and that's kind of where it ends. You didn't really have too much of you didn't know what was going to happen next, except there was like this like it's edgy piece, the Oracle and the Merovingian, or the Oracle and the Architect, sorry, were basically saying like, how long will the peace last? Like until it doesn't is kind of the answer there. So, now we're 20 years later, 20 plus years later. We know Keanu Reeves is back, and we know Carrie Ann Moss is back, which is something, I'm not sure how I feel about that one. And then as well as returning characters Niobe, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Lambert Wilson as the Merovingian, which I think is great. And I dug his character, but he was underused, I thought, in my opinion.
I spent a significant portion of my day, not significant, a couple minutes, maybe like an hour, getting ready to say Merovingian, because I think I even said it wrong. I had to like spell it out. Marrow, like bone marrow, Vingian. Like, why is the Merovingian so important and everything that's going on? What's his deal?
So I can tell you everything about the Merovingian now. I know it all.
Okay, so tell me about the Merovingian. Why is he coming back for the fourth episode of the Matrix? In your opinion, what's the storyline and the history?
In my opinion, I guess, yeah. So basically, the Merovingian, not to go on too long, but he's basically like leftover programming from previous iterations of the Matrix. We're up to iteration 7 now, I think, or at least it should be 7 if this follows the chronology properly. So there was 5 before. There was at least 5 before that had the 1, and probably 2 before that didn't even have the 1. It was just such a flawed system. The 1 was obviously basically a workaround for the Matrix to reboot itself. It's super complex. Suffice to say, the Merovingian is a leftover from that. Basically, he was a program that was no longer needed, but he found a way to survive. And so, as he survives, he's now also recruiting old exile programs, which we see in Matrix 2 and 3. He has these lupines, these werewolves and vampires, and all these old programs. So basically, from sounds of it, the Matrix, the second actual Matrix that was created, was basically a horror Matrix. It was just designed to like torment people, and that didn't work out so well. Apparently, people didn't buy that, but programs from that era still have managed to like kind of come over to this new area. So the Merovingian, I was assuming, he's just kind of amassing power, and I would assume if the Matrix is the Matrix that we know roughly from the originals, is he's basically trying to, I would assume, control the Matrix. That's my biggest guess as far as his character goes.
Well, characters, or as I should say, avatars, the programs, those things all kind of get a mind of their own. They may not love, but they feel that. They feel the human emotions. The programs are meant to be human-like, and in many ways they are. They feel alive. They fight for their life. They want control. That's what Agent Smith is all about. He wants choice, not to just be told what to do. He wants to be free. And he wants to destroy the prison that he lives in as a program. So yeah, programs and humans are definitely, you know, an issue when it comes to the Matrix, and that's what's so beautiful about the story and the things you can do about it. Yeah, there are versions of the Matrix that were nice. Everybody was happy, but everybody got everything they wanted, and then people were like, "What? This isn't real. What's going on?" You know, and they were discovering that they weren't living in a reality. So, like this, and that happens with every single generation of the Matrix as they make new ones. Yeah, now we're at the end of the Matrix 3, spoiler alert. You see the Oracle saying, you know, that there's a new piece, and how long is a piece? As long as it can last, kind of thing. So, that's going to be basically what's happening. There's going to be the era of peace, where the humanity builds itself back up and repopulates so they can have cave raves, and then you know, the clash again with the programs, with the robots. Maybe things get cleaned up. Maybe they clean up the environment and start sucking like the smoke out of the sky and everything, and returning some kind of balance. And the balance fails, and that's why we have weird flashbacks with characters who are dead, like Harry Ann Moss, Trinity, and Morpheus.
We don't know if it's a flashback.
Well, Morpheus isn't dead.
Well, no, Morpheus. Well, okay,
Right.
and that's the kind of the funny thing is like in the non-movie canon, Morpheus did die, and this kind of leads into the new cast members. The first guy announced was
Right.
I hope I'm saying this right, Yahya Abdul Mateen II, and he is rumored to play a young Morpheus, which initially kind of
Right.
started rumors that this was going to be a prequel of sorts. But with Keanu Reeves back, and there's pictures online of them filming, he looks very much like Keanu Reeves in full John Wick beard. So I don't think there's going to be any de-aging involved. So I think if he's playing a young Morpheus, it's going to be in a flashback sequence only. And then after that, a bunch of other cast members, names you know, people you've seen. Jessica Henwick from Iron Fist and Game of Thrones. Neil Patrick Harris, of course. We know him from How I Met Your Mother and Starship Troopers, one of my favorite movies of all time. Jonathan Gruff from Mindhunter. He does an excellent work. Priyanka Chopra. She's a super attractive girl who's from Baywatch, and she had some other TV show I can't remember off the top of my head. Ellen Holman from Spartacus. And Andrew Caldwell from iZombie, as well as a bunch of Sense8 stars, like 4 people from Sense8, which is a Wachowski directed and created show as well. So they have a significant cast going already. We don't know any of their roles yet, besides the rumored young Morpheus thing. But it's a good cast. I like all those cast members I know. They're all very competent actors, and I expect good things from them.
So we got an all-star cast, upcoming stars, established stars, and I'm sure they'll add more to. Well, they have everything cast. They're already doing a little bit of the shooting. They've shot a couple scenes, but now it's coronavirus and it is protest time. Hashtag Black Lives Matter, and things are kind of shut down in industries all across the country and the world, and they're going to be resuming soon, we hope. Take your time, make a good movie. I'm super excited about 4 because it's going to be like the summer blockbuster next year. This is like our sigh of relief. 2020 is over. It's over finally. Let's go watch the new Matrix movie. You know, that's going to be the thing. That's our reward for making it through all of that. Is a new Matrix. I'm super stoked for 4. They said
No, I'm pretty pumped. I'm pretty pumped.
the Wachowski said they weren't gonna do it, and like in 2015, it's like, no, we're not gonna make this movie in this era of everybody just making remakes of everything, because that's what everybody was doing. They were remaking movies over and over and over and recycling stuff. They're like, we're not gonna do that, and now it's 2020, and yeah, maybe we'll do it.
This is being directed by Lily Wachowski. And Lana said 5 years ago, yeah, it's particularly repelling to remake or to redo The Matrix at this time. But she said she totally supports this project. She just was busy with her own current show, A Work in Progress, I think is what it's called. But she says this has the full, her full support. Behind it as well as the same stunt guys who did the original, Jad Stileski and David Leitch. who actually just worked on John Wick as well. So they are very familiar with Keanu Reeves from The Matrix and now John Wick. And I expect them to just try to like up whatever they did in The Matrix, which got just ridiculous as far as stunt work. I expect it to go even further in The Matrix 4, and I hope to see something totally new. What we saw Bullet Time 21 years ago, I want to see the next evolution of Bullet Time.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that is, but I hope to God they're working on it.
Yeah, you forget that the Matrix really innovated in so many different ways. Filmmaking, the Wachowskis brought some things that we had never seen, the slow motion stuff, and especially the computer animation. Some of the battles were epic, and you have, hundreds of Agent Smiths that are all over, and they're, fighting, and they're spinning sticks and everything, and it's the best computer graphics extravaganza, super special effects, premiering on IMAX and the small screen, the smaller, whatever, theaters and IMAX at the same time. It was a huge, big blast. They even, like with the Matrix 2, I think, they shot like an alternate ending and showed that in the theaters again to go see it. Those are all such great movies. I saw every one of them in the theater multiple times, loved them. Can't wait for 4.
Absolutely. I can't wait either. The only sad thing is there'll be no Agent Smith. They asked Hugo Weaving to come in. They are actually in negotiations to get him on board, and because of scheduling, he couldn't do it. So Agent Smith was originally in their script. Obviously, he won't be there anymore, or he'll be recast. Which you can't recast Hugo Weaving. He was so amazing as Agent Smith. To have Agent Smith played by somebody else would just be a sin, I think, in my mind. But so they'll rewrite it. I mean, we don't need Agent Smith back to still have agents. That being said, I don't think anyone can come close to doing what he did.
They did that with the Oracle. There's like 3 different Oracles, wasn't there?
Just 2, and like I said, the original actress died, so they couldn't really replace. They had to replace her. They just wrote it into the story, which people were offended by. Which, I mean, whatever. To me, it's it's kind of being offended for offended's sake. Like I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I think 2021 we're going to be getting the Bill and Ted movie as well. So it's going to be a summer of Keanu.
That and John Wick, John Wick.
He's so dreamy.
Bill and Ted.
John
and
Wick.
This. Yeah.
So he's going to be like 3 big movies, and they'll probably put one of them in. How much Keanu can you stand?
What's funny
the answer is a lot.
John Wick 4 and The Matrix 4 were scheduled for the same day, the same release day, and I think
weird.
It was kind of a matter of seeing who was going to bend first, and obviously with the delays now, this being 2 months. 2 months behind in filming, I can't see them trying to keep that same date. So I imagine they'll push this back, which is good because I mean, I don't know why anyone would be like, yeah, let's put John Wick against the Matrix and see who wins. Like that's who. No one wants to make that choice right now. Like let's just space it out. Let us have our more Keanu here, and we're good. We're good.
Excellent. So we have anything else we got out there? Any other tidbits? Or scraps of rumors that are out there?
As far as I know, no. The one thing was I know Cypher, Joe Pantoliano, was trying to get his character back in here, but by all accounts, his accounts too, he said that he wasn't getting any return phone calls on that story.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like Cypher's coming back, guys. Sorry, all you Cypher lovers out there.
Yeah, the same thing happened with Dozer, the guy who played Dozer in the movie. Like they cast him out for the second one because he was being weird and everything like that. That was another replacement I didn't like in there. But yeah, Cypher, being able to see Cypher's character, maybe a cameo, something like that, like him eating a steak or something and getting shot, that would be nice. Just a big shake, or a steak, and he's in movies, and he gets caught in the crossfire. That's the one thing about the Matrix movies you can depend on too. We were talking about special effects, but the violence, so much shooting and destruction. They were talking in San Francisco. They shot some scenes in San Francisco and damaged like light poles and walls and stuff like that. And in San Francisco, they're like, you're damaging our town to make your damn movies. Get out of here.
That sounds awesome. I'm totally down for real violence. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now there's protests and riots and stuff like that, and the real thing's happening. That's got to be weird.
Yeah, guys, that's everything that everybody knows about Matrix number 4. There's some fan theories out there as far as the plot and stuff goes, but this is everything that we can confirm about the Matrix 4. So now you know what we know, and hopefully we get some more info relatively soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching this episode of Pop Goes VR. My name is Danthol. You can find out more at me about for the videos that I do at watchinvr.com. Ryan, how about you? Where do we find out stuff about you?
You can see from my t-shirt, I'm the VR Grid. You can find me on YouTube, the VR Grid, or social media, I'm the VR Grid. I run the website, thevrgrid.com. I review VR games and experiences. If you're looking for, I try to review everything. So hit me up, watch my stuff. I'd appreciate it.
So please subscribe, watch. We're going to be putting out regular episodes on this. We're planning one a week of a review of things or whatever we can find in pop culture. Maybe a couple others peppered in there so that we can, just review games as they're coming out and things like that as well. Check out at the bottom in the description. We have our Patreon. We have the webpage for PopGoesVR. We have Amazon links that you can buy the Matrix Trilogy with. All of those things help us out so we can bootstrap this show up so we can get better cameras, better equipment, and get remotes and do some exciting things for you in virtual reality.
Ooh.
Have a good one.
Later, all.
Why, oh why didn't I take the blue pill?